Yes, we are talking about the game's health today, boys and girls, as there have been a few interesting developments over the past couple of months. So let's start there. So a few months ago, if you recall, Wargaming ran an auction for the Hildebrand, the Tier 10 hybrid German cruiser that is a little bit borked, if you ask myself and many others. It's a very powerful ship in the right hands. It's the first hybrid that you can kind of just spam planes with. It's got the excellent German rocket torpedoes along with the absolutely absurd dive bombers that she gets. So that ship went up for auction a few months ago, and myself and many others were expecting, of course, the ship to fetch quite a hefty price because, it at the time was, one of the latest and greatest, most busted ships in the game. But surprisingly so, she went for her minimum bid, which was, I believe, 35,000 doubloons. Now, don't get me wrong, that's still a lot of money, but in previous auctions, we've seen ships like, the Musashi and the OG Smolensk go for quite a pretty penny. So this was pretty surprising that, that didn't happen here. So I was like, oh, okay. And then this most recently passed auction, the Smolensk B auction, believe it or not, the Smolensk B went for its minimum bid. Now, that too was also quite expensive at 40,000 doubloons, but the Smolensk being the Smolensk and, ship with a bit of a reputation for being absurd, I was expecting it to go for a little bit more than that, but it didn't. So, with those two auctions kind of just fizzling out, which, don't get me wrong, too, both of those auctions, with those ships going for their minimum bid, still about $250,000 worth of doubloons was extracted from the player base with those two auctions. But still, the ships went just for their minimum bid. And with this happening 2 auctions in a row, I started to see some posts saying, hey, look, the Smolensk B and the Hildebrand both went for their minimum bid. That's not the best sign for the game, is it? Looks like the player base isn't really spending that much money on the game anymore, or there maybe aren't enough people to really, throw money at these auctions playing anymore. Which, honestly, like the Smolensk B, it didn't surprise me too much that it went for the minimum bid. It is the Smolensk B and not the Smolensk. I think if it was the Smolensk, then yeah, players probably would have threw more money at it. But the Hildebrand one really surprised me because that ship really is kind of cracked, and it went for its minimum bid. What also has surprised me too is that I haven't seen more than I think 1 or 2 Puerto Rico Bs sailing around out there since she was sold as part of that mega whale bundle. That did genuinely surprise me. So I thought, okay, well, maybe there's something to this. There's people spending less money on the game or whatever, for whatever reason. But then the next event happened. So yesterday, December 1st, yesterday the day of recording at least, December 1st, the Santa containers went live in the premium shop and the armory in the game. Now, it would be a bit of an understatement to say that the Santa containers are fairly highly anticipated by quite a few members of the player base, and dare I say it's what a good amount of the players look forward to at the end of the year. These containers offer a chance for you to get these ships that have been removed from sale, super rare ships that are highly coveted by the player base, Missouri, Musashi, among, many other ships that have been removed. I think Smolensk too is in the containers as well. So it's something that players do throw a lot of money at. Now, in yesterday's video, when I released my Santa container buying guide for this year, the comments were immediately flooded with a bunch of you guys saying, hey, I bought this many containers, I got these ships, I bought this many containers, I got these ships. The video has an absurd comment to view ratio right now. I guess the algorithm didn't like it or whatever, but it's not doing that well in terms of views, but it's one of my most commented videos currently in the past 2 weeks, including the video where we talked about the whole kerfuffle with Liberty Harbor, which has 4 times the amount of views, right? So just from those comments, I was like, oh, dang, man, I guess, people really are dumping money on these containers at the end of the year. And then I was sent a very interesting screenshot where, and this is truly absurd if I understand how this works. Either way, this is ridiculous, okay? What are Warships has somehow peaked at the number 4 slot on the SteamDB chart for top global selling games. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, Sealord. What Warships is a free-to-play game. There's no sell involved. Well, you see, the way that the Steam DB chart works is that it does take into account, individual game sales in terms of revenue brought in, but it also looks at all money spent in the game from Steam users. Meaning that if you buy a DLC or a microtransaction in game, it tallies that as well. Keep that in mind. This is just Steam users buying Santa containers in game. Keep in mind, there's a fair amount of players that just play the game through the Wargaming Center client and not through the Steam client who are also dumping money on Santa containers. Also keep in mind, too, that, World of Warships is up here at number 4 with games that, go for $60 a pop and also are way more popular, like Battlefield 6 and Cyberpunk and, so forth and so on. Like, it's absurd that it's right below Arc Raiders and Counter-Strike 2 for in-game revenue generation. Now, I do believe this is a daily list, so I believe it updates at like midnight or whatever. So if you pull it up right now, it's fallen down to 13th as of December the 2nd, which, if you're wondering, Water Tanks, actually, let me double check where Water Tanks is at right now. World of Tanks is way down at the bottom of this list at 392. And World of Warships is at number 13 right now, or number 4, on December 1st. I think on December 1st, World of Tanks was 400th and something. So it's slowly climbing up there right now. So, yeah, I don't think the game's really dying or going anywhere anytime soon with that type of revenue generation occurring at the end of the year. Keep in mind, too, this is just from when the Santa containers first went on sale. We've got till, February, to the middle of February to keep buying these Santa containers, and they're going to keep selling them all for, this month in January, and of course when players get their Christmas money and, their presents and stuff, their real-life presents, but I'm sure many are going to turn around and throw some more money at the game. People get their end-of-year bonuses and stuff. They're going to spend some of that on Christmas containers and such. So that's, Wargaming is absolutely raking in the dough right now with World of Warships. So it's pretty safe to say that if this is the type of performance we're getting here from this game 10 years into its life, I don't think the game is really going anywhere anytime soon. Sure, throughout the year, the player base might dip and dive in some places. And sure, Wargaming does make some pretty questionable decisions at time with, balancing changes and new ships and the such. And we've seen with missiles being openly tested right now. These are very questionable decisions that Wargaming makes from time to time. But apparently it's not bad enough decisions to drive away the ones who are really throwing money at the game for the game to, peak at number 4 on the top selling list for Steam. With, again, just the players who have the game through the Steam client, or the players that have linked their Wargaming accounts to their Steam accounts too. So, yeah, it's still not everybody is what I'm saying. So it's probably really, it would not surprise me if it was actually in the number 3 slot, if you were to include, everybody who's spending money on these Christmas containers. But what about the auction for the Hildebrand and the Small Lynx B? Well, my theory for the Small Lynx B is that it's a Small Lynx B. It was auctioned off 2 years ago for coal. So a lot of players picked it up for free in that auction. And it was a ship that was available for quite some time that you could just pick up in game. And it wasn't, yoinked right away after it was sold. So there's a good chance those that want a Small Lynx probably already have a Small Lynx. Now, if it was an OG Small Lynx, I do think it probably would have brought in a little bit more. But again, those that throw money at the game, that buy every new premium ship, they already bought a Small Lynx, right? And with the Hildebrand, kind of the same category. It was available outright for purchase in a bundle, albeit an inflated bundle. And again, those that throw money at the game probably already picked up a Hildebrand when they saw how nutty it was. So, that's probably what happened there. Hildebrand is also a hybrid ship, so even if you are good in playing surface ships and stuff, if you don't have much experience in CVs, you can't really get it to work really well. So you do have to have, players that are more skilled to get the performance out of the Hildebrand, and a lot of people that throw money at the game aren't really that good at it, right? It's one reason why some of them throw money at the game, right? Not saying everyone who spends money on the games like that, just that some whales definitely. are in that mindset. So that's probably what happened with the Hildebrand and the small ints. And I mean, again, the Santa containers are just absolutely something that a large number of the player base just throws money at. If this is what the player base is doing 10 years into this game's life, throwing enough money at to where it cracks the top 5 of Steam's global bestsellers, yeah, this game's not going anywhere. Like, there is a reason there are, 12 Fast and Furious movies? Because each movie makes a ton of money, right? As long as the game makes money, Wargaming is going to keep updating it. They're going to keep the servers live. And it is printing money for Wargaming right now. So I think, yet again, like, easily, this game's got like 5 years left in it from this point going forward. It will not surprise me if we're here in 2030 with the game's 15th anniversary talking about whatever Wargaming's got going for it then. Especially, again, if it's making this amount of money right now, 10 years into its life cycle. So guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below about the sheer amount of money being thrown at Wargaming right now. If you are one of those players that are throwing money at Santa containers, what are you getting in your Santa containers? Let's infect this comment section too with those threads, because it looks like some people are getting very lucky. I saw one guy got like 5 or 6 ships, and like 4 of them were from the super rare category from the mega containers. Like, bro got like a Smolensk, Hildebrand, a Masashi, and then I think he got like a Hawaii too out of it, or a Bremen, which is wildly lucky. Like, bro, go buy a lottery ticket after that. Maybe you don't, because that was your lottery ticket luck running its course for you. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday and wonderful rest of the week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.